Welcome back to the show. This is LJ's Comic Bro, and my name is Jay. I'm the host of the show, and today is New Comic Book Day, which is pretty exciting for me due to the fact that this is the second week in a row I've actually gotten to release a show on New Comic Book Day during the day instead of like 11:59 at night at times, possibly Thursday early morning around 2 a.m. So to me, that's pretty exciting. I'm actually a little ahead of schedule at this moment. I'm going to let you guys know a little something. I've commissioned a poster and a drawing of Lockjaw, and it's going to represent the show, and it's going to be actually going to be behind me here. And that is going to be like pretty much my cold open every day. It's going to be showing that picture off and showing off my little Lockjaw, who basically without him, there would have been no show. So that's something coming up, and I'm going to be doing an interview with the artist that did the drawing. I saw his artwork on a pumpkin, no less, and it was amazing. It literally looked like Disney on pumpkin. So that will also be coming up. He is an amazing artist. I want to show off his artwork. I want to show off some of his stuff that he's selling at the time. So, like I said, I've got a couple things actually coming up in the next week or so. First thing I'm going to ask you to do, though, if you like what you're watching, you like what you're seeing, and dear God, if you like what the fuck is coming out of my mouth, please push that little thumb button, subscribe, and leave a comment, because the best thing about doing this show is actually having an interaction conversation with everyone watching my show, either about comics or about rescues, because either way, I've got a lot of knowledge about both. I'm going to also let you know, at this point in time, for those that are ferret lovers and are in the actual area, there is several ferrets that actually need rescued in my area. I got 2 in Lancaster, 1 in York, and 3 in Baltimore County. So, if you guys are actually interested, the 3 in Baltimore County, they're waiving fees. So for all ferret lovers, and like I said, before you even pick up an animal like that, an exotic pet, please, 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 I'm going to say it one more time, please do your research. All right? Ferrets do take a lot of work, and dear God, they also take a lot of time and money. So they're definitely an amazing pet. Once invested in and become a part of your family, they are awesome, fun, and I can't say enough good things about them. So just to let you guys know, if for anybody that's watching in my area, so please subscribe, leave a comment. And I'd like to, also know what the hell you guys are reading out there. What are you guys interested in at this point in time? What's your favorite heroes? What's your favorite villains? Dear God, if you're not even watching that, what detective, murder, horror, what are you guys reading out there? Be an interesting conversation. I got a couple things here that I wanted to be able to talk about, so on to the show. Hey, all right, so I did do a show last week. It was a box reveal. And there was a couple books that I wanted to read right away, and because I wanted to actually have... I actually wanted to be able to review it this week. And one I actually considered might be a failure. I love the concept. I love the thought. I love the idea. But having a book like this is definitely one of those, it's a throwaway. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not. It actually is a really good fucking series, at least the first book here. That book is Justice League versus Godzilla versus King Kong. All right. Now, to my surprise, I actually thought it was going to be shit on top of shit on top of shit. I pretty much got the book because to me, I am a huge fan of Godzilla. I've been watching since I was a kid. It brought back a lot of nostalgia. I remember watching every Saturday afternoon, watching all Godzilla versus Megalon, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, Godzilla versus Space Creature. I mean, I watched tons and tons of Godzilla throughout my day. 1985, I absolutely loved Godzilla. So when this book came out, I was ecstatic. Hell, I even collected the Magic the Gathering cards. Now I do play Magic, but I won't use my Godzilla cards. I mean, it's to me, it's Godzilla. They're my little collector's things. So that being said, I wanted to get this book. I wanted to try it out, and I actually wanted to be able to do a review, which I did. This is actually a really good book for those that enjoy the backstories, some backstories of Justice League and what's going on with them at this point in time and present time, I should say. It kind of lets you know what the hell's where they're actually headed, possibly in the dawn of DC. At least I'm hoping that this kind of interferes a little bit with what's going on. But this is a great story. All right, it reads like a movie. Setup, the artwork is amazing. The dialogue and the interactions between the characters, and then bam, the introduction to fucking Godzilla. I absolutely love this book, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you guys are looking for a good story, I'm not going to tell you it's a great story, but I'm going to say if you're looking for a good story, this is it. Godzilla, Justice League versus Godzilla versus King Kong. Give it a try. It was awesome. So I thought it was going to be a cheap throwaway. I thought I was just getting it for the first issue, but I signed up for the rest. So take my advice or not take my advice. That's up to you. But dear God, at least give the first issue a try. Second thing I got, and I had a feeling this was going to be an amazing story before I signed up. I was a little iffy because some of those outside stories for Batman recently have not been as good as either the main story or anything else. But this Black Label Batman Gargoyle Gotham, I read it with fragile hands because I have a feeling this one's going to be worth at least a little bit down the line, because this is actually a fantastic story. This reminds me of the Dark Knight stories, the artwork, the behavior, everything that goes on. This did remind me a lot of the Dark Knight. I absolutely enjoyed the first issue. I read it actually twice because the first time I read it, I was just like, this feels like Frank Miller. So I read it a second time, and I absolutely thought this was beautiful, from beginning to where they left off there at the end. So if you get a chance, at least I don't know how many issues are out there of the first at your local comic book store, but try to pick it up. The second print is coming out, so I'd say at least pick it up and try it out. If you're a huge fan of Batman, if you're a huge fan of the the artwork and style of the Dark Knight, perfect issue for you to pick up. That's all I gotta say about that shit. I am so happy I picked those two stories up. So a little thing happened. I am going to say this. A little thing happened that when I was working with the Comic Hub app, for some odd reason, I got my Hawk canceled, and I realized I wasn't getting any Hawk. The next issue I was supposedly getting was this wraparound art cover for issue number 6. So I looked to see what was already come out, and I noticed 3, 4, and 5 have already shown up. And sometimes you get a little lost, especially if you're following a larger story like the Fall of X. You kind of start missing some issues from time to time. So I went down to my local comic book store. They are ordering number 3 for me. I got 4 from another comic book store. So once I get those, I'll do a nice little review. But this is issue number 5. And it's fucking awesome. All right, this is awesome. So if you guys are not following this storyline, Philip Kennedy Johnson has been doing a fantastic job. Even after reading 2 and being absent for 3 and 4, I read 5 and I was like, holy fuck, did hit a home run. This reminds me of the stories that when he was doing Superman, which was a great set of work there for him. Don't follow him if you're thinking Alien. It's not that bad. But with Hawk, fucking awesome. I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't sleep on this. Pick it up. Start reading it. Next thing is my Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 8. Awesome. Just, yeah, there's the previews mentioned that Hawkling is in this. Previews be wrong. Previews be damned. He's not supposedly in it now into the next issue, so I guess they're pushing it off, building it up for a little bit more. But the story is still fun. All right, I absolutely loved it. I think the next issue is supposed to be more about Little Manta. So what I'm going to say is, since this is so young, still in the story, the group fall is spiritually still going on. They're dealing with the after effects of what's going on with group fall. Please go pick this up. It is an awesome story. It's a fun story. It's a story that'll kind of remind you of what's going on in the MCU with them, which is absolutely on a pause because they disbanded. But go pick it up. You will not regret this if you absolutely love the movies. Next issue, Doctor Strange, number 9, the continuing war between him and his other side, should say. I love this, and Jed MacKay, thank you. At least for some of the parts of the Marvel universe, you guys are actually involved in that. They actually bring up mention in different stories. There's some of them that are not, which I believe is bullshit. I think everything should be interacting. I think all parts should be moving in the same direction. That's how you're supposed to come up with Avenger stories. That's how you're supposed to come up with the combined stories of everybody. So you're doing a fantastic job. I know you're mentioned I know all your stories are mentioned in the ones that you're writing, but in certain X-Men books and in certain other stories, this is actually going on. This is a thing that's happening. So this is a great story. I love the war between the two Doctor Stranges. If you love the movie and the MCU movie, please go pick this up. The artwork is fantastic, and you can see the Ross cover. Jed MacKay's the writer. You won't regret that either. Next books I'm going to show you here is Welcome Back to the Fall of X. So I do show you how you're supposed to read this. Unfortunately, something happened, and one of my books was sent over to Four Corners, which I won't receive for quite some time. Quite some time, which was X-Men Red, which I'll show you where it's supposed to, I think, be inserted. Unfortunately, I like I said, things happen, and it got sent over there. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the two covers here show you the first two covers of the X-Men. I got this one for my wife because it is the 60th anniversary, and I got stuck, unfortunately, getting this one also. It's a beautiful cover, but it is what it is. Duggan has proven again that he really does know what he's doing with the X-Men, but unfortunately, I'm at exhaustion at this moment. So much, I think, could have been kind of squeezed down between a couple of the X-Men issues instead of spreading it out so much. This is the first time I've read so much fucking X-Men. It really is. There's a reason why I didn't read them, and I'm glad I read this series, and I've enjoyed the series. But once the Fall of X is over, I cut ties. I'm done. I could care less about the next storyline, the next growth, the next whatever. I'm done. There's other books that will be coming out here shortly that I am very well interested in, and I'm pretty excited to be able to start reading those. But as a Bam! Wanted to show that again. It's a wraparound cover on that 60th anniversary. But I'm gonna say this is definitely worth my reading. The next one you definitely should be reading is X-Men number 28. After that, it's X-Force. I did get 2 covers of that. One 60th anniversary and one cover A. The Two Brothers stories, I think, is probably what's driving me to continue to keep reading this. And I mean, the book has been out, I think, either 1 or 2 weeks already. So, spoiler alert. It's about time they got Colossus under control. And it's about time because he's been a traitor to the X-Men. He's been loyal to his brother to a very big fault. So the thing is, he's supposed to be mind controlled, but partially he knew what he was doing at times too. So I do like to know that the X-Force finally deals with him and basically arrest him and do what they need to do to poor Colossus. I like Colossus, but a traitor's a traitor who's a traitor. So that's my thing. X-Men Red is supposed to be right here. So as you can tell, like I said, and then unfortunately it got sent over to Four Corners Comics, and I didn't want to pick up a second issue. There wasn't another cool cover that I was interested in, so I looked at it as, this is what I'm going to do. This is where it goes. The last issue that you should be reading that follows the storyline is Uncanny Spider-Man number 3. Probably one of the best stories that's going on during this Fall of X. I love Nightcrawler as Spider-Man. All right, he really, really, really is trying to be Peter Parker. He's trying to get that sarcasm down. You can see he's faltering at every step, but dear God, it's fun for him trying to pick up the mantle of Peter Parker, especially since Parker's supposed to be involved in this huge gang war. It doesn't show in this. I feel like Spider-Man right now is his own universe at this moment. Even though he's included in a lot of different books and a lot of different storylines, it just there's no interaction between the main storyline and the main storylines of other things going on in other comic books. Even in Doctor Strange, Peter Parker is will show up and you're trying to figure out, well, I thought you were supposed to be in the middle of a gang war. Or Moon Knight, he's showing up and you're like, well, I thought you're supposed to be a part of a gang war. What the fuck is going on? Don't you have something else to do? At least they should be making mention instead of acting like nothing is going on in Peter Parker's life. Like I said, that was the one thing I think the Fall of X and the X-Men comic books in general, Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, God knows everything else so far. Everything is a continuing story, which builds to one pinnacle. Spider-Man's in his own, and that's the reason why I'm not, until Wells gets the fuck out of there, until finally, I'm just not going back. I know right now supposedly he's writing really well, and he's finally catching on and doing a good job. But there's other Spider-Man stories that I can be reading at this time, like shitloads of back issues that I possibly have that is 10 times better than what he's putting out. Romita Jr., I know Jr. here is going through some things, and he's not doing every cover artwork either. But at the time, I thought he was floundering anyway. Not as bad as Frank Miller at this time, but at least it's just one of those things. It's so computerized. I feel like he's taken the what he used to do for granted. He is a talented artist, but once he started working on the computer, it just wasn't the same for him personally. And but this definitely is a huge, nice replacement to read instead of Amazing Spider-Man at this moment. Now, on to something I've actually have to recant on. I'm not a big fan of Dan Slott. I wasn't a big fan of his storylines. I wasn't a big fan of anything, and I know he has a lot to do with the Spider-Verse. I get it. He put out a lot of books that are now worth tons of money. Congratulations. But I'm going to have to say something at this point in time. Okay? I did pick up Dan Slott's new book. And I quite enjoyed it. I did. I absolutely enjoyed it. I actually have 2 covers I picked up from Comics Connection, and I picked up 2 covers from Four Corners Comics. The only reason I picked them up from Four Corners Comics is because I got it in too late at one, and the other one was still taking orders for the issues or the covers that I liked. So I was fine and dandy that it'll be something I get to show off when I do another local comic book box reveal, when I get one of those books from 4 boxes from Four Corners. So I'm going to show this bad boy off. My local comic book shop day right here. I love the artwork. I actually got the main cover from Four Corners, which is this cover. Dan Slott. Look, I love this. The Todd McFarlane. There. I know he did this with he drew one time. He did it with Spawn and Spider-Man. He also done it with Batman and Spider-Man. He's done this several times. So this is more of an ode, I think, personally to him. It's an amazing artwork. I love the black and white, the distinctive in the colors and stuff like that. Fantastic. And I love the backstory of Spider-Boy. He's not just like a regular boy. He's like fangs out, like almost Incredible Hawkish style, where he goes on a rage attack. I absolutely love this book. I think I signed up for like 4 more issues. Dan Slott, I'm sorry. I really am sorry. You got me on this one. All right, you absolutely got me on this one. I'm going to be reading at least the next couple issues to see how far it goes. So, thank you, Dan Slott, for making me apologize for saying some really bad stuff of how I hate your writing, and you got me. So you got me enough that I actually got the shiny copy of this. I love this shiny copy. Like I said, I got 4 different covers, and this is the second cover that I picked up from Comics Connection down here in New York. Amazing, and I see there that lovely shiny cover. So next thing I'm going to go on here is there was a finishing of a storyline that needed to happen, and he's been shat on the whole time. Personally, I'm a huge Chip fan. Zdarsky has been doing, I personally think, an amazing storytelling, especially with the Gotham War. I absolutely loved it, and like I said, there's some definitely bad things, but I think there's a lot more good than there is bad. Unfortunately, he's been shat on by a lot of people who've been saying the story sucks. He doesn't know where he's going with it, blah blah blah. He started off strong. Now where the fuck is he at? Personally, I enjoyed it. I absolutely enjoyed it. And maybe I'm a little biased because I'm being such a huge Chip fan. But this is the end of the story. I love it. The last part of the Gotham War. And I got the shiny copy. Oh, yeah. Beautiful artwork. I loved how this story ends. It's one of those things that you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. I personally liked it. I know it got a lot of bad reviews. Like I said, it's one of those things. I enjoyed that they actually let you follow along. They told you which book you're supposed to be reading next, and it was simple reading. It wasn't going to be one of those made you think kind of stories. This is where we're at. This is where we're going, and this is how it's going to end. And the sad part is you kind of already knew how it was going to end. Maybe 3 issues in, but sometimes it's got to be to set up another story, except for the part that I did not expect when Batman got his house taken away. Personally, that was pretty fucking cool. I mean, so I thought it was pretty. I thought so far it's been a good story, but this is the last part of it. The end. Now the critics can go to bed now. Get the fuck away until the next Batman comes out, which I got right here. All right. But let me show this little bad boy off. I love it. I usually don't take covers of like female silent art or whatever. It just whatever. It means more to other people than it does. But just to show this off again, Catwoman looks fantastic. I mean, it really does. I love the Moon Knight behind her. I love the little shiny lights and stuff like that. The outfit itself looks amazing. It looks just like leather. So, the artwork is fantastic. I can't wait to see what more this artist will do. So, there you go. Okay, Chip. This is where you turn things around and impress. And unfortunately, the critics were crickets again. They just absolutely could not stand this issue. I mean, you think about it. It's Batman. It's Joker. It's a beautiful cover, and I love that cover. I'm excited that I actually got this cover. I got the foil cover itself. Also, it's a red cover with the bat signal in the center. I'm getting all those foil covers there from Four Corners Comics. So it would be kind of cool when by the end of this month, or I should say the middle of next month, to get that box and be able to look at all those cool fucking foil covers. But I thought this was a great story. I think it's. I guess I have a problem seeing what they see when it comes to Batman stories. I'm so used to really bad Batman stories recently that getting a readable Batman story to me is exciting. It was enough that I actually canceled Wells' Spider-Man and started reading out and picking this up. So I've enjoyed it. Everyone's got their own opinions, and if you've got a different opinion, please let me know. I'd like to know what you're thinking about these new Batmans, Chip's Batman. I'd like to hear what you guys are personally thinking. I mean, I don't care how different it is than mine. Let me know, dear God. Now, this is a new book that actually came out this past week, last week, should say. It was free at your local comic book store. They were just handing it out, especially if you had a box. They were said to here. I know some comic book stores were actually charging the $3 for the book, but most of them were giving it away for free. So I say it's not for me. It's not one of those books that I'm going to sit there and rave and rile and go but I will show it off because it is a brand new book from a new writer. Artwork and stuff like that. So I will sit here and I will show it off. It's called Unnatural Order. I did read the book. Like I said, it's not personally for me, but it is in that 1970s Conan stories. It's kind of like that. The artwork, the story, how things are being directed at. And I just was never a 1970s Conan fan. Now I know there's a lot of people out there that collect Conan. This would, I think, personally be for you. This is at least where I would say this is headed. So, if you have a chance and you didn't go to pick this up at your local comic book store, it's free. If you don't see it, hey, say, where's Unnatural Order #1? See what happens. I'm pretty sure most comic book stores are giving that one away. Now, I finally finished collecting here. I've been collecting the Strange Tales, the Warlocks Jim Starlin Warlock storyline, because I'm putting together the ultimate Infinity storyline here as a collection. I'm trying to collect every single issue. I already have the collected issues, which is crazy. I actually already have all these books in one collection, but to be able to get the individuals and possibly get Jim Starlin to sign a few of these, and I'm a huge fan I love Jim's work. I love everything he did. And I know he didn't create Warlock. I know he didn't create Captain Marvel. I I know he didn't create certain characters, but I think he told the best story for those characters. So, that being said, here is Strange Tales 181, and when I think was it 179 comes in, I'm going to show that off proudly because I did pick that up. So, I got this for $45. The cover looks pretty clean. I already took the back off. I already took it out of the bag and the other bag and board. The back of it looks fucking fantastic. All right, there's nothing here that I would be really concerned about. It's not a huge. It's not a huge book. Even when graded, it's really not super huge. You probably end up losing more money on it getting it graded. But for me to get it signed by Jim Starlin himself, hey, I'm a fan. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for all the work that you've done and all the work that you're still doing in the comic community. I'm still buying your shit. So that's actually all the books I actually have to show off this week. So, again, I'm going to urge you, if you like what you're watching and like what you see, please thumbs up, push subscribe. Hell, give me a share. I'd love to be able to find out that I'm on somebody else's news feed. Give me a share and leave a comment. Like I said, the best part about doing this show is actually be able to have a conversation with others that are, reading comic books also. I know there's tons of fans out there because there's tons of websites and there's tons of fucking comic book channels. So I love to be able to find out what you guys are interested into, what you guys are reading, what you guys are watching. Hell, what you guys thought of that last Loki episode, because that was fan-fucking-tastic. I know a lot of people were having problems with the Marvels and stuff like that, and they're calling it a flop. But it was a movie that was definitely needed. It was a movie that needed to be made. I love how everything is being crossed over. I'm not going to sit here and lay spoilers on it, but it was definitely a movie that needed. So I urge you, don't root for it to fail. Give it a try. Go watch it. I mean, to root for something to fail is almost ignorant on your part. So my thing is, at least give it a try. I mean, personally, I would have normally never picked this up, or would have never been on my radar if it wasn't for free. But I don't urge it to fail. It's not personally for me, but it's probably for everybody else that enjoys that kind of artwork and that kind of storytelling. So, from my family to your family, love to see you again next week. Thank you for joining me. And one more thing. Thank you to all the new subscribers that are watching my show. Welcome to LJ's Comic Bro. See you next week.